On Blues Radio International, we're here in Boynton Beach, Florida, with Luther Guitar Jr. Johnson. Luther, thanks for joining us.
All right.
Man,
It's a pleasure.
it's an honor to sit down with you. What was it like when you were growing up? Because while you're associated with Chicago blues, it didn't start in Chicago.
No, I didn't. Well, I was born in Mississippi, and I born to play a little place in Mississippi called Ada Bena, Mississippi. BB was born there too. We born in the same, town.
How many people were in the town? Was it a big town? Or?
Well, I never did know because I was born there, and my mother moved some other place, But I was born in Ada Bena, Mississippi.
Now, what was it like growing up? What kind of work were you doing, and what sort of things were going on in your life?
Well, when I was growing up, my father had a farm, and I worked on the farm, and went to school when I could,
Yeah. What kind of music was being played at home? What kind of music did your folks listen to?
My mother, she was crazy about Muddy Water, and Muddy Water and Howlin Wolf and Sonny Boy Wish, guy like this, Robert Nighthawk, So that's what I would listen to.
When did you first decide that you were going to start playing music?
Well, my uncle, my daddy's brother, his name is Audrey Johnson, So he played guitar. He used to play Saturday night fish fries, for peoples. And I was a little boy, so he'd take me with him. And it reminded me, I said, I'm going to play guitar one day, I'm going to be like my uncle, And I told all the kids, I was young, I was going to school. I said, I'm going to be recording one day, and all y'all going to have to pay to come see me, Oh, we're going to never pay no money to come see you. I said, okay. And it happened.
It sure did. You also, you had an a cappella group in church.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that.
Well, it came about when I was leading the choir, in church. My mother, my sisters, and my brother, all of them, in the choir, and I used to lead the choir, And I started from there. The pastor, he would say, that boy sure can sing, And they called me the singing boy. That's what he used to call me. He used to call me the singing boy in church, And when they have fumes and things, I had to sing, So I was just that great, everybody loved the way I sang, And so I told my mother, I said, well, I want to play, music. I had been going, around with my uncle, So I told her, I said, I had made me a little guitar at first, had a string, upside the wall, had two balls in them. I played with a ball,
How did you do that? Was that with nails?
Yeah, with nails, and snuff ball, down south. My daddy used to dip snuff and chew tobacco,
So this was two strings on a board or on the
One string, but I did put two boards on two strings on the board. And I got, I want to play it. I want to make my own little guitar,
Right.
And start to slide, singing,
How old were you when you built that?
I was something like 9 years old, 9.5.
Now, did you see other people do that, or was this your own invention?
Well, I used to see people, on the plantation, that when my father had his farm at, So I used to see guys, putting strings outside the wall. I used to see guys blowing corn, like a hair cone, putting the sip paper off a cigarette packet or something. Blowing that, I did all that, And I used to play a juice harp, with a juice harp.
Yeah.
Stuff like that,
Did people play a lot of music on the plantation?
Oh yeah, we had good musicians. Guys older than me. Guys Bo Parker. And he was a great guitar player. And I used to go around him, sit, watch him in the house playing the guitar. And my uncle used to play guitar with him. and they sit around the house and play guitar and different, like people used to have their own, make their own juke joint, in the house, selling whiskey, homemade, we called it moonshine, moonshine and homemade beer, all like that, and it was, it was something, and be a lot of people, having fun, eating fish, dancing. My uncle was entertaining with the guitar,
What kind of songs did you play on your first strings on the wall instrument?
Well, I used to play Don't Your Peach Look Mellow, hanging way up in the top of your tree, stuff like that,
That must have sounded amazing with slide.
It did, Zip, zip, doo, doo, doo,
Did you have an audience when you did that?
Well, I would mostly do it by, around the house on a cotton pen or something, because I didn't want nobody to see me playing that, and I wanted a guitar,
When did you finally get the guitar?
I got the guitar was something like about 12 and a half, about 12, maybe 13, And I started playing the guitar with my spiritual group, If I wouldn't play it, I had my first cousin, my uncle, son, would play the guitar behind it, the spiritual group.
Now, did your uncle teach you how to play?
No, his son taught me how to play. My first cousin. I used to have to pay him 15 cents to teach me. Yeah.
What kind of stuff did he teach you?
He taught me all kind of stuff, that his daddy taught him, But my daddy used to blow a little harmonica, but not too much, And I want to play, so I told him, I said, well, one day I'll be making my record, I said, I'm going to Chicago. I always told him I'm going to Chicago. Because that's where all the blues players were, And I moved to Chicago, at a young age, I left, I was something like 16 years old when I moved to Chicago back in the 50s. And I went there, my older sister, I went there to babysit for her, for a while. And I started slipping out, going on Chicago. All the blues were played everywhere, on Maxwell Street, on Roosevelt, 16th Street. People sitting on the, playing the guitar, people drinking and going on. I said, no, I was in the right place, that's what I want to do,
That must have been a big cultural shock, though,
Oh,
to Chicago.
I'm telling you,
What was that like, making the transition just to the lifestyle and what was going on?
Well, it was good. I used to play in people's basement all night. They drinking, and I'm drinking, I was too young to drink, but, I wouldn't get too high, but, had to make me nervous, had to drink a little bit to make me, play my guitar, and they enjoyed it, And I used to play in one guy's basement. He used to cook, make me some chicken necks, I mean, not chicken necks, turkey necks, And he would sell them, and people would buy them, He make me some turkey necks, stuff like that, hot dogs, And I was eating and playing my music, So I went for it.
This is also a time when Robert Nighthawk was playing on Maxwell Street. These people were outside playing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you were going into the sea of the best blues talent in the world.
In the world. That's why I saw all of them.
Yeah.
I saw all of them. Elmore James. I used to go with Elmore James' daughter, one of his daughters. Mm-hmm.
What was he like as a personality?
He was great. Mm-hmm. He was a great guy, And I saw, back in those days, Howlin Wolf and Lil Walter Jacob, I used to play with him. When I got up, I used to play with Lil Walter,
How did you end up playing with Lil Walter? That's a pretty good gig.
Yeah, it was, Well, I'll tell you, Calvin Jones, used to play with Muddy Waters, during the time when I played with Muddy Waters. Well, he used to play with Lil Walter. He knows all this stuff, you know. And so when I met him, we were going with two sisters, Mary and Martha. He was going with Mary, I was going with Martha.
Wow. So were you intimidated by these? These are the people that your mom was playing for you. And
Right.
And now you're seeing them and you're meeting them and you're playing with
I'm
them.
playing with them.
What-
Yeah, I
Were you nervous about that?
well, in a way I was, but, you know, I was drinking a little bit, you know, so, you know, making my nerves up, you know, so. And they would let me play, you know. I asked them, could I play? No, you can't play no guitar, you know. And I started out, you know, before I started playing music, I was singing and dancing. And I got to play a band in Chicago, Ray Scott. So it was a Ray Scott rock and roll band. And I would dance and sing, and the people would, you know. And I left Chicago and went to St. Louis, Missouri. And I lived in St. Louis, Missouri about a year. And I met a dude down there by the name of Little Junior Robinson. And he was playing bass and I was playing bass. He said, well, one of us got to play lead. I said, well, I'll try to play lead, you know. I tried to get in touch with him for years ago. I can't get in touch with him nowhere, you know. That's where I got my start from when I went back to Chicago. They couldn't touch me. I had it. They said, let him sing. I said, no, give me the guitar.
Yeah. So that 1 year away changed everything.
Changed everything, that's right.
So now you come back to Chicago. And what's going on in Chicago when you return?
When I returned to Chicago, I got my own band. I started off first with Black Junior. You used to call me Black Junior. And from Black Junior, I went to Little Junior. And then after people named me Guitar Junior, I started, you know, all my recording and things, you know, we Guitar Junior.
Now, how did you end up meeting Muddy Waters for the first time? This is a hero you'd been listening to when your mom played him.
Well, I met Muddy Waters in the Willie Dixon. You know, he used to be a writer for the blues singer in his basement. And Muddy Water was down there rehearsing on 40 days and 40 nights since my baby left this town. And I, you know, so that's why I heard him, you know, recording it, you know. And I said, wow, you know. And Muddy had a voice, you know, that, you know, oh man, he was something else. And I always wanted to be like him and sing, you know. But, you know, I didn't want to, you know, I wanted my own thing, you know, I wanted my own style of music. You know, in this business, you don't make no money until you get your own style. And I got my own style, you know. I didn't start making no money until I got my own style. And then when you get your style, you can play anybody's music, you know. It doesn't matter.
Who do you give credit to for your style? Because we all learned from people who came before us.
Right, well, I give credit to Ray Scott, the rock and roll band, because he always told me, I want you to do it for yourself. And I've taken his word at it, and I went on, you know, and I made myself. And he ended up my drummer, you know,
Wow.
in my band before he died. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, what was it like playing with Muddy? How did you end up playing with Muddy for the first time?
Well, the first time I played with Muddy, Calvin Jones, I said, I'd taken Hollywood Fat. You maybe heard of it.
Yes,
He lived out in
absolutely.
California. I'd taken his place with Muddy Water.
Okay. Now,
Nah,
how did you get that job, though?
Calvin Jones called me and
Okay,
said, Muddy
he said,
need a
"That's
lead
it?"
guitar player, you know.
Okay.
I said, well, tell him about me. And so he said, I'm going to give you Muddy number and you call him. He gave me Muddy number and I called him. Guitar Junior. I said, yeah, this is me, Mud. He said, I need a guitar player. I said, well, he said, what can you come sit in with the band? He said, I'm playing in East Lansing, you know, Michigan. He had a big show with a white stave. I never will forget all that playful, packed. And that Friday, he said, I want you to come that Friday night and play a couple songs, you know, with the band. Oh, I'm so nervous. I can't, you know, I didn't know what to do. I walked in the club. I said, I want to go to Muddy Water's dressing room. The guy said, he's right back there. I tell him, look for the Guitar Junior. I had did a recording, in my first recording. I had it in my hand too, wanted to let them know I was trying to do something, So I walked in the dressing room. Muddy said, "Guitar Junior." I said, "Yeah, that's me." So he said, "Well, I'm gonna let the band go up, and I'm gonna play a couple songs, and I want you to come up and sit in with the band." Oh, I got so nervous. I didn't know what to do. I was shaking, and and what was thought about it, I didn't have my guitar with me, So I said, "Well, I don't know what to do." I said, "I wonder, do you want me to sing or what?" So when I walked on the stage, he gave me his guitar. And Muddy played with clamps, and I'm high string, and I'm picking, And one man said, "Oh, let's go ahead and do what you can with it." That's all I could do. So when I hit the first note, people started screaming and hollering and doing everything. Muddy said, "They said you were that way." He said, in 2 weeks' time, I'll be calling you. I was working at a steel mill in Chicago. I drive overhead crane, pouring iron, I'm driving the crane. And that Thursday night, I got a call. So, "Muddy, this Muddy." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I want you to sit in," said, and I had just did the interview with him. And he had a job, and he was playing Atlanta, Georgia. I forget the name of the place. He said, "You got a job?" So I'm working. I said, "Now I got my family, and everything. I'm thinking, And so one man said, come to me and said, "I want you to get your leave of absence before you go on that job, because you never know what'll happen." So I talked to my foreman, the guy, I told him, I said, "I want to leave of absence for a year." He said, "Well, everybody liked me at the job. Well, I was so funny and beating on things, and entertaining people with my acoustic guitar and all this stuff." He said, "What you want to do?" I said, "I'm going to be a musician." I used to go back and forth out there visiting them, and they when I walk in the steel mill, "Hey, here, look at that. Here come the star," So I got fun from that, so that's where I started,
You told me earlier about what it was like hearing yourself for the first time on the radio. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I tell you, before I recorded my record, there was a guy named Big Bill Hill. He used to be on the air. "This is Big Bill Hill radio station," and he would go around clubs and things where people banging at. And he would, we would be on the air, playing. So I used to play on the air too, me and my band, And we have something like 45 minutes, a half hour or something on the air, And people, "Oh, what you on the air last night? What Big Bill Hill talking about you, and your band and everything, at Steel Mill where I was working." I said, "Yeah, I was there, And so I got the first guy that wanted to do something for me. His name was Jesse. And Motown music, and all this stuff was going on. I could have got on Motown, but the guy who was managing me, his wife was a singer. So she's a singer in my band, so they didn't want her. Motown didn't want her, they wanted me, So, we wouldn't, I couldn't record for him,
Now, you played with John Lee Hooker. Can
Yeah,
you tell me what that was like?
That was good. John Lee Hooker, he gave me so much respect, He really did, Like John Lee Hooker and this guy from Texas, let me think his name. He gave me a lot of credit. Texas boy, played guitar and played again, what his name was. But those guys, when I used to walk around them, and what he was playing at, Gatemouth Brown,
Yeah.
They be sitting down, but when I walk in the house, they get up and start to play because they know I was going to get them,
Yeah. Gatemouth was a great multi-instrumentalist, too. He played fiddle, he played everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he was my good friend. He said, "You really came out, so I'm glad you did." See, Gatemouth used to sit down on the stage, when he played, didn't want nobody to dance or nothing, And so when I come to house, we say, we got Luther Guitar Jr. now. Everybody, oh, let him up, you know. And I get up here, I start playing, everybody start dancing and everything, you know.
It's great. Now, you also had some experiences playing with the Rolling Stones.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
Well, Rolling Stone, you know, Muddy opened for them, you know, and stuff. And so we'd all play, you know, and Muddy called them up, you know, and we all played together, you know.
That was cool. You played with Eric Clapton as well?
I clapped and I played with this band, you know. You can put it up on, you know, on YouTube now. I'm in Clapton band, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like with your parents? They had a vision of what you were going to be as a man and what you would do, and you told them that you were going to go do this. What was it like to talk to them about that and for them to see you actually become part of Muddy's band?
Well, I mean, as I started playing with Muddy Water, you know, and my mother and them had moved them to Chicago, you know, and everything. I told them I wanted them to come out, you know, and see me with Muddy, you know. So they did. They came out, you know, and everything. My cousin that one taught me how to play guitar, he was there, you know, smiling and laughing. You said, go do it, you know, and all that, you know. So it was great, you know. And I was so proud of my mother and my father there, you know, see me playing with Muddy Water.
That was quite a moment.
It was.
Now, you've traveled all over the world. You've played for people in all sorts of places, and that's important to us because we have listeners all over the world as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very impressed as we've gone on through the years about how people from different countries who have none of the shared experience of American slavery, don't know anything about Chicago, actually have different musical scales than we have,
mm-hmm.
but they love blues. Why do you think that is?
Well, blues is, you know, the blues is the root of music, you know. So those people down south, you know, that what blues came from spirit, from the spiritual singer, you know. And people, you know, they doing something, working, they couldn't do nothing about it. They had to sing about it, you know. Like your wife leave them or something, you know, you're going to make a song of, my baby gonna love me, you know. It's just like the blues, you know, it's something, you know, the blues is, I can't hardly explain to tell you how the blues is. But the blues is something that you really can move people with if you do it right. And I don't have no problem. I'm just like a preacher in a pulpit.
You are. I can hear it in your voice. And I can see the church when I saw you on stage last night.
Mm-hmm.
I see where that comes from.
That's right.
It's deep within you.
It is, you know.
What do you think is the important message that we need to pass along to younger people about blues who might not understand
but
it?
the young people these days don't want to play no blues. The young black don't want to play no blues. They call it slavery music. And I'm so glad the white boys taking it up, playing the blues. It make me feel so good. Somebody keeping our stuff alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's something that's very sad and personal.
It
to me.
is. Mm-hmm.
I have 2 black grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that they know about blues is because of me.
Right.
And that's a shame.
It is. Mm-hmm.
That's a real shame.
It is.
And I wish we had a broader ability to reach people.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
One thing Doug McLeod has said about it is this isn't the music of subjugation or slavery. This is the music of overcoming.
That's right. That's what they got. Just all this other stuff from the blues. You know, rock and roll came from the blues. You know, all those guys, you know, and stuff came from the blues, you know.
Who's the most amazing musician you've ever played with?
The amazing musician I ever played with is Muddy Waters, because that's who I always want to play with. But I want to play with him, but as I started, I want my own style, you know. I didn't want Muddy style, you know. So you got to have your own style, you know. But I can play Muddy stuff just as good as he can and sing it as good as he could. You know, but I know that I wanted me to do it, you know. And my music, so many people have came to me and told me how my music feel to them. I have broke them up for married. I have married people, you know, for my music.
It's powerful.
It's powerful. That's right.
Very powerful. And it's powerful in a very good way.
That's right.
Would you play something for us if we set you up with a guitar?
Yeah.